All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our virtual information session for the Masters in Business Education. Again, thank you to everybody for joining us tonight or who is watching the recording. We appreciate you taking time to learn more about the program. The event should take probably around 30 or so minutes. This is being recorded, like I said earlier, and I'm sure we'll probably have plenty of people who are watching the recording. And at the end of the event, I'll be sure to drop in our contact information. So if anybody has any follow-up questions about the program, feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to help in any way that we can. But before I go any further, if we could introduce ourselves here, and we can start with Dr. Jeffrey.
Good. Happy to see everybody. I said good evening, or whenever you're watching our video. It's nice to meet everybody. My name is Dr. Jeremy Jeffrey. I'm an associate professor, one of the M.Ed co-coordinators, and I'll be telling you more about our program. And thank you again for taking the time to watch it and learn more.
Thank you, Dr. Jeffrey. And Dr. Jeffrey, what are your areas of interest? What are your research specialties?
Oh, good. My background is primarily career and technical education. Before I arrived at Bloomsburg University, I taught in Central Ohio a couple of roles. I was a Marketing 1 teacher, as well as a financial literacy instructor, and also a career and technical coordinator before I landed this amazing position here in Bloomsburg. So if you're from Ohio or Central Ohio connections, thank you. Usually doesn't go too far, but yeah, that's a little bit about my background as well. Before I arrived at Bloomsburg, this is my 5th year here.
OHIO, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Dr. Force.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Christina Force, and I first off want to say I'm a proud Husky. I have my undergraduate degree from Bloomsburg University in management, and I went into the finance and banking field, fell in love with training, and came back to Bloomsburg to get my master's of business education. So this exact program that you are all looking at right now is something that I graduated from way back 15 or so years ago. And more than that, 25 years ago, I guess, because I taught high school for 15 years and I've been at Bloomsburg for 10 years. So when I did the program, it was not online and virtual like it is now, but it still was a great program. After completing it, I was hired right away at a school called Southern Columbia. So if you know football, they're pretty darn good in football.
Heard of it?
You heard of it, state championships. And I live in Berwick, so another football town as well. Like I said, I was at Southern for 15 years. I got my doctorate from Wilkes University, and I've been in this role for 10 years. My areas of research, I'm kind of like our guest tonight, Stacy, who has some, aspirations to kind of give back. So my topic for my dissertation was cyberbullying, which was very impactful, as we're business computer information technology teachers. So it related kind of to, the area of expertise that I was going into. So I have also been hired here. I've been the supervisor for student teachers. I run and graduate students are eligible for this organization. I'm the advisor to Pi Omega Pi, which is the Business Education Honor Society. So we do some really cool things, Stacy. We travel together. We go to conferences. Bloomsburg University has professional experiential monies available. So I've taken students to Chicago several times to the conference. We've also gone to Baltimore, Maryland. So I enjoy my role in that organization. And we do some, kind of giving back. It's something that you could be involved in being an online student. So it's always great to travel and show students the profession. So welcome, everybody.
Great, thank you. And we have our newest Husky in the Masters in Business Education program here. Stacy, would you mind introducing yourself for the rest of the prospective students that are considering the program?
Sure. My name is Stacy. I did my undergrad at Lincoln University, and I finished in 2021, and was definitely looking toward continuing my education. Initially, I went back to Lincoln, and then kind of figured out that it really wasn't something I wanted to do, and decided to broaden my horizons by coming back to coming to Bloomsburg to become a good old Husky and to master in business education. Definitely looking forward to this journey.
Excellent. Thank you, Stacy. And my name is Tom Kresh. I'm the Director of Graduate Admissions here at Commonwealth University, which now includes Bloomsburg. So we can go ahead and get started. Dr. Force, go ahead. Dr. Jeffrey.
Dr. Jeffrey's going to take this one.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I just want to tell you a little bit more about the M.Ed program and why you might want to consider our program. And there are definitely a variety of reasons. One that might start with is, of course, an inkling to teach. We do have 3 tracks, and 2 of which will allow you to receive certification in business, computer, and information technology. So if you ever had that passion to perhaps teach, first, second, all the way up to 11th or 12th grade and higher, this is definitely a program for you. Also, if you're a current teacher, perhaps you might have been a former social studies teacher doing business education, or you want to continue your professional development and licensure requirements, our program is built for that as well. If you want to go from your instructional 1 to your instructional 2, get some more hours, perhaps move up in the food chain on the pay scale, things like that. Our program's definitely for you, as well as those from business and industry. Just want to learn more about training and development. We do have a M.Ed only option, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, which is non-licensure, 15 credit hours over business education, instructional technology, and the other 15 credit hours we let you choose. You can do courses in instructional technology. You want to keep doing that, business, education, whatever your passion might be, and you work with either Dr. Force or I to develop that. And I don't want to go too far with that, but that's a couple of reasons. So professional development, perhaps you want to ascend in the pay scale, or if you have a passion for teaching business education.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about some overview of the M.Ed. Business Education Program. So fortunately, our students have been able to be placed 100% upon graduation of our program. So depending on what that path is, a lot of them go to teaching, go to the K through 12 environment. We have some who really go into business and industry. Even though they've had a passion for teaching and have done well, business and industry has lured them away. We also have some that, might go to teach at a business school as well. So we have had that in the past. And some of our teachers also might be adjuncts at community colleges, which I know I have somebody who's at HAC, and then they could also adjunct at a 4-year institute, pending that they would only need a master's degree. So when you get out of our program, depending on the track that you choose, if you are going for our internship route or student teaching route, you will get a Pennsylvania teaching certificate in business, computers, and information technology. So it would require you to be in Pennsylvania in order to get that. However, if you would like to transfer to another state, it is a very easy process because Pennsylvania has higher standards than most of the states. So it's very easy to just apply to that state in order to transfer your license over to that state. So we are also accredited along with our College of Education. So we are housed in the College of Business, but we do partner up with the College of Education because Pennsylvania requires some courses related to education in order to get your teaching certificate. So we fall under the College of Education, and they are a CAPE accredited program. So that's kind of nice. We're accredited by a standard body, and we have higher, expectations and, assessments and curriculum that are all, to a high standard. One of the great things about the Masters of Education program, and we're going to delve into the tracks, but regardless of what track you choose, you can do all of your coursework online. And another great thing about our program is you can start whenever. We have classes available in the fall, the spring, and the summer. So we kind of have like a rolling admission process. We tailor the program to you. So we'll sit with you and talk about your needs, and we'll kind of, chart out a path for you if you want to finish it in, 1 year and fast track it, or if you want to go 2 years, or if you're going to do the intern program and you'll go 3 years. So it's very flexible for working professionals. And I know Stacy had asked me this question when her and I met before. Is it a program that if I work full time, can I do this program? And the answer is 100% yes, because I would say probably about 75% of our students are working full time and have children, or want to have children, or we have tons of a lot of weddings. A lot of our students are in the process of doing this and getting married or having babies. And I always love the babies because I teach an online class, and I always say, oh my gosh, the baby came home, and we all get to see the newborn baby via online. The students in our program are totally cool. I've had students in my class also play guitar and sing. We get a lot of like very talented people in our program, singers and play guitars and all these other instruments. So we really, even though it's an online program, you're really going to get to know people in it. So it doesn't really feel online. So again, it's a great fit for people who have an undergraduate degree in any discipline in business. If you have something else like, say, communications, it's not totally out of the realm either. We can take a look at your coursework, and we can look at those competencies that you have fulfilled either through work or through schooling, and we can look and see what prerequisites you might have to meet. So please don't be discouraged if you don't have a business degree, because we have had students, like I said, of other majors like communication who've gone into the program. So that's a little bit about the overview. And now we're going to have Dr. Jeffrey. I think we're going to have Dr. Jeffrey. Okay. Yes. Next slide for you. Finally.
Yep. So this will be very brief. As you can see, we have quite a rich history. Our business education program is housed, as Dr. Force said, in the Ziegler College of Business. And we are the oldest program, dating all the way back to the 1930s. So I'll just read this next part to you. It just says that our legacy and reputation across the state and our strong alumni base have school districts looking first to hire our students. We have that, evidence for school districts that are hiring reach out to us pretty frequently, if not immediately, in order to fulfill business education teaching needs across the state of Pennsylvania, not just northeastern Pennsylvania, but as well as western, northern, southern, anywhere in Pennsylvania. I think we've even had people, Dr. Force, reach out from New Jersey, Virginia, and North Carolina as well, just to see.
Yeah, and so I personally find this very interesting too, or not interesting, but fascinating, because really part of our reputation as a school was built on the success of the business education program. So when you talk about, like, quote unquote, being in business for a long period of time, we have been, right? This is a tried and true program, one where the reputation really does kind of precede itself. And I think that will make a little more sense when we get to the job outlook and some of the recent alumni placement, where Dr. Jeffrey and Dr. Force oftentimes have other, organizations and school districts reaching out to them saying, hey, we have vacancies. We want some of your students. Do you have any more? Right. And that's really where the reputation of the program is, very, very valuable, because it will help you land jobs.
Yeah. And it's so funny you say that, because I was just talking to some students. They're getting ready to talk about applying for scholarships. And I said, in the business education department, we're such an esteemed and an old program that has a tradition, is that we do, for a smaller program, have quite a few scholarships, because we have a lot of biz ed teachers, and we have a lot of people who have been in the profession that like to give back, and so they'll establish not only one, but we have one person that has like 4 every year, 4 available scholarships. So I think that says a lot for the program. So
For sure.
Yes. And for some reason it's not advancing for me. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think that we're going to be delving into each of these programs. So again, our 3 tracks are our MED, business education with no certification, the MED in business education with a teacher certification, and the instructional internship route in BCIT. And so I am going to pass it to Dr. Jeffrey for the no certification.
Yeah, so I'll start with this one. So as the name implies, this is for folks who might already have a teaching certificate, just trying to advance. For folks outside of the field of education who want to learn about training development, anything like that. This is our 30 credit hour track. I should also say we talked about transcripts a little bit. If you have any coursework that's at the graduate level, or that's probably as high as it's going to go, we can definitely also analyze transcripts and transfer in any congruent credits as well, up to 9 credit hours. So I just want to mention that if you're pursuing other places as well, we're transfer friendly. So this one, as it mentions, available fully online, as Dr. Forrest talked about. We have students that are very, very busy individuals. So we definitely keep that in mind when we're trying to schedule our business education courses and things like that to work around your schedule. 30 credit hours, as I kind of mentioned probably a little prematurely, 15 credit hours of instructional technology and business education, and 15 hours you decide. We have students taking courses in information technology and analytics, educational foundations, educational leadership, and others as well. So this one is geared probably slightly more towards individuals who don't want or don't have a passion quite yet, or currently teaching, or just want to advance on their knowledge around training development. So a little bit more towards business and industry. However, anyone, including teachers of social studies, science, math, etc., can definitely pursue our program. As I mentioned, it's 15 credit hours designed to meet the needs of students who want to find out more about business education, instructional technology, which might include courses in instructional design and theory, teaching online as well, and things like that. And again, 15 credit hours, we just pull out the graduate catalog, look at what courses are available each semester, if there are any prereqs or anything like that, and help you decide where to go from there. So really is very selective based upon the student in consultation with their advisor to make sure that we're meeting your needs and that you're choosing courses that are passionate for you.
And I just want to say in this photo quickly, as I'm pictured there with one of our graduate assistants who actually Tom knows pretty well. She was in the admissions office. So we'll be talking about graduate assistantships as well. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah. Yes. And yes, that was Gianna. Gianna was one of our grad assistants, and she would be thrilled to know that we're talking about her during this event. I'll be sure to send this her way. But yes, she was a GA for us in the business education program. She was able to apply a lot of what she was learning in class during her grad assistantship. So that was worked out really well. So Dr. Jeffrey, just in summary here, so really this is a program that's for students who have already obtained their certification or not looking to teach, essentially.
Yeah. So your certification might already be in business education or elsewhere. Sometimes in the state of Pennsylvania, because we do have a lot of jobs that go unfilled. You might have a social studies teacher or family consumer science teacher who has some business background that they might shift over and teach in the business education department of their, let's say, high school, for instance, and they'll come to us and say, hey, I want to kind of build up my knowledge of business education, things like that. So it's what those foundational courses are all about. So again, can kind of help fill in any gaps if you're a teacher or looking to perhaps pivot into a new content area. This is also available for you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will move on to the Masters of Business Education with certification. And so that is a certification, which is kind of nice about business education. It gives you certification through kindergarten and 12th grade, actually pre-K, but we normally don't place anybody in pre-K because, technology really only kind of starts at kindergarten. But so you do get a certificate in Pennsylvania to teach traditional business classes, computer classes, and information technology classes. So again, our coursework is hybrid. This option, though, does require you to student teach within around 50-mile radius of Bloomsburg. So it would require you to be near Bloomsburg. We have not had really any problems in the past. We've been able to accommodate, since I'm able to do the placements, we'll kind of meet I'll go in the direction of the person. So I have somebody way far away, but I'm going to a school district, Dallas, which is kind of like 50 minutes for each of us. So, we kind of make that work as well. So that is the one piece out of all of this that would be the face-to-face. We have built in our courses, some of the field experiences that you have to do. So you do have to do a field experience for my class, Biz Ed 501, which includes observing at the elementary middle school level. And then Dr. Jeffrey teaches a course right before student teaching where you're observing some high school and you're doing some teaching of some lessons in the school district. So this track is 40 credits. So you will have 3 business education courses. You'll have an instructional technology class, and then you'll have a mixture of some special ed and some English language learner courses that are required to get a teaching certificate in Pennsylvania. And then you would have an instructional strategies class before student teaching with the 1 credit field experience. And then for 16 weeks, you would be student teaching with a mentor. So Dr. Jeffrey is going to talk about next the internship track. But for the the master's with student teaching. Some of the high points of that is you are working with a mentor teacher. So you are getting rolled into student teaching. So you'll pick up your first class week 2, then you'll pick up, your next class week 3, and it kind of rolls in that way. And then you have somebody who's the teacher of the classroom who mentors you and who's with you during that time period. So that is a 16 weeks experience. And then along with that, I come into the classroom several times and I'll observe you and we'll kind of talk about, things, areas for improvement, things you're doing great. We'll talk about, classroom issues. There is a 3-credit course that goes with that, and we kind of delve into that a little bit more. So student teaching, just so everybody's aware, we offer it in the spring semester. So it's only offered in the spring. So we would chart out your coursework based on student teaching in the spring. The other thing, which is nice, so when you graduate with this, you will get a level 1 teaching certificate. So the level 1 will qualify you to work again in any school district in Pennsylvania. What's great about coming out with our masters with student teaching is that when you get hired at a school district, they will hire you at a higher rank because you'll have your masters. The other really good thing about doing this masters with certification route is that having a master's will not require you to get the other 24 post-baccalaureate credits. So if you get an undergrad in business education, when you get a job, you will have to then go and get 24 more like graduate level classes to be converted to your level 2 certificate. In this route, the only thing you have to do is successfully teach at a school district for several years and have some satisfactory evaluations. So again, it puts you on the higher pay scale. And you don't have to do the extra coursework. So that's something that's really, really cool about the the student teaching option, if that's a way. And I have had students before, Dr. Jeffrey and I have had students where they might have had opportunities to go the internship route and forgo student teaching, but some people really find it to be a valuable experience and they decide to go that route anyway, even though our internship is a really popular route. The thing is, Dr. Jeffrey's going to talk about the internship. The internship is available, but it's only if there are no other qualified applicants who hold their business ed teaching degree. So if there's like a school district of your choice that you really want, and there might be more applicants, some students decide to go with student teaching because they know it takes that out of the running when they're looking at selecting their candidate. Anything else you want to add, Dr. Jeffrey, that I might have missed?
That sounds good. Almost said getting completed pretty quickly. We're having students fast track is what we're calling it colloquially. Can start in like spring, summer, get the coursework under their belt, student teach. I'll just say sometimes, we'll have a student, we had one recently, a student taught, and he had 1 class left to do in the summer. Dr. Forst and I are maybe we both did it for him, didn't even realize it, wrote a letter for him that he could show to school districts as he was interviewing, even though he had 1 class left and technically couldn't qualify for his licensure just yet. We were very, very confident that he was going to obtain his licensure in August, right before the school year. So if you fast track, we can definitely get you in the classroom as soon as possible doing this route. And if you have 1 or 2 classes left over, and he got a job. Yes, I should definitely mention that part. So yes, he got a job. He fast tracked. Now fast tracking will require some very habitual study habits. There's going to be some field experience hours you will be completing in your fall semester, and it's going to get busy. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as you're preparing. So if you're starting a new family, other family responsibilities, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you get things done. And then, like Dr. Forst said, student teaching is a full-time commitment, but again, it can lean you right to the classroom the following year. You got your level 1 certification and you're ready to go, and you'll probably get multiple job offers. We have school districts, as soon as they find out we got a few people ready to go, or we'll have people ready to go, they're reaching out to them almost immediately, it feels like.
And I was one who didn't fast track because I was working full time as well. So that's something that you want to think about, your family life and your requirements if you have a professional career going on. So okay, so let's move on to the internship, Dr. Jeffrey.
No problem. So this is something I help out with a lot, and this is, as Dr. Forst mentioned, probably a more popular route. And we're using this a lot to help fill that, that deficit, so to speak, of unfilled business education jobs. That hurts inside when they go unfilled. So what this is a form of alternative licensure. So in the student teaching route, is what we should really call MED with certification. That's your more linear experience, I call it, because you do your coursework, your field experiences along the way, you student teach, and then you look for the job. With this one, congratulations, you have the job, you're ready to go. Just a few things you got to do to get you all set. And with this one, I'd like to just lead it, and I'll say it again. This does not require you to stop student teaching. You just keep on teaching. So that always comes first when you're doing this particular route. So this is our MED in business education with instructional internship in BCIT. A couple of things, it is available fully online. You can live in Pittsburgh, you can live in Erie, Pennsylvania. Heck, you can live in Bloomsburg. No problem where you're at. You do not have to move. Always invite you. I think we have someone out in Pittsburgh right now. You're always invited to come say hi to Dr. Force and I at Bloomsburg. However, you can do your coursework, all your requirements fully online and not have to even drive out of your house, especially if you're teaching online. So we're fully online, 30 credit hours. Another important thing to consider, sometimes we'll get students who will reach out to us, or prospective students from, like I said, New Jersey. I think, again, we had North Carolina. This is only available in Pennsylvania. That just means that, you could come here for a couple of years, do your teaching requirements, and perhaps transfer your license later. But our internship route is only going to meet the requirements of certification in Pennsylvania. So coursework is very similar to what you would expect in the student teaching route or MED with certification. You have your business education core courses, instructional technology, and your exceptionalities. So that includes special ed and ELL. The difference here is that you're not going to take methods and you're not going to student teach. You're going to do a two-part, and I'll jump down just a little bit. Two-part supervised internship, supervised by either myself or Dr. Force, to help you prepare in advance, I should say, on wherever you're at with your teaching strategies. We try to schedule, it's a two-part, maybe part one in the beginning of your coursework with us, and towards the end, perhaps, of your coursework with us, just to kind of build on each other. But it does not matter where you take it. We offer it fall and spring. And again, that's just to kind of help you out, like get feedback from Dr. Force and I. We have some requirements we have to do to meet your licensure needs as well while doing the MED. That's why it's an alternative licensure track. But that's part of that. So another important thing to consider is that it is designed specifically, and we sat down with this and really mapped this thing out, 3 years or less. So you'll obtain something called an instructional internship. I can go into that too much tonight, but if you want to meet with me or Dr. Forrest, we can go into what that requires. But you will actually be a licensed teacher in Pennsylvania, and you'll have a type of licensure that lasts 3 years, non-renewable. So we have to get those coursework, all those courses completed. So that way, when you get done with everything, you're all set. You will then receive, and I should say, apply for and then receive your level 1. Just like our folks who complete the student teaching route would receive, and you would obtain a K-12, or still have, I should say, in advance, your K-12 BCIT. So we call that Business, Computer, and Information Technology Teaching Certificate. So, we have students of all ages. We have students that are 22 years old. They just got their undergraduate degree in business. They're out teaching right now. We have students that are a little bit older, 30s, 40s, 50s, who, just had that calling and things like that. And, they're sometimes a little bit hesitant, like, can I go into a classroom, 0 years of teaching experience, 0 education courses, and really pull this thing off? The answer is yes, you can. And we're here to support you along the way. Even as you're entering our program, right away, we'll get you resources. As soon as you're, a student with us at Bloomsburg University, we're here to help. You don't have to be in any courses as we're helping you proceed forward and things like that. And obviously, once you get into courses, we're there as well. And again, this is a really popular route. If you're ready to teach, you apply to a teaching job, and we can help you out, cover letter and resume, no problem. We can help you get hired and, do the program. And then once you teach, which is most important, you just keep on teaching. I get very passionate about this. It's probably the most I'll talk all night.
And I just want to add, we'll talk about this later, but we do have quite a few students that go into teaching online, cyber schools and that such. So really, you can do again the whole thing online. Everything. And like Dr. Jeffrey mentioned, is this internship certificate rolls right into a level 1. So sometimes I have some, school district ask about that. And then, just this week, I think it's like 2 biz ed job openings, and there were no applicants. And so I said to them, hey, if you find somebody that you want to fill the position with, we'll bring them into our program. I literally had an undergraduate student whose husband was not happy he was working in finance. So he called me up and he said, hey, Dr. Force, my wife loves teaching business education, and I want to do it. And I said, you know what? I just got a call from a former student that has a job opening. And he said, really? And I said, it's about 20 minutes from your house. So he literally interviewed that week, enrolled in our program, and in 2 weeks was teaching, quit his job and started our program. And he graduated last year, and he'll say it's the best decision he ever made. He was fortunate. His wife was an undergrad biz ed, so she could kind of fill in some of those gaps for him. But it was a whirlwind. I mean, it was just like everything aligned up for him. And again, because they call us first and let us know, we try to help, fill those openings.
The world of business education is small, and Dr. Jeffrey and Dr. Force are miracle workers. But again, the reputation definitely helps, and
They know
Dr.
our
Force
program.
exactly. And Dr. Force and Dr. Jeffrey having connections in the field, those connections basically, or their connections can work for you, right? And they can put that work for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I forgot to mention this, and this will vary by school district, but let's talk money for a moment, right? Switching careers can be costly. You got to look at your finances. That definitely comes up during a conversation. A lot of school districts might not be a full reimbursement, but a lot of school districts will reimburse most, if not all, of your schooling while you're pursuing this particular route. You might have to be in the system for a year and then you get reimbursement, or it might come right away. Might be partial, but that's definitely something to consider if it's a money thing. As you're teaching and making the making your salary as a teacher, sometimes you can you might have to pay first but and reimburse later. But a lot of school districts I've noticed are at least paying something towards your education.
Absolutely. We have one school district that's taking 2 this year. They had 2 openings. So, I said to the students, make sure you find out what the reimbursement is, and we try to work with that schedule to maximize that reimbursement money as well.
We definitely can those 3 years. It's very easy.
Okay. So are we ready to move on? I'm going to talk about the career paths. So we kind of mentioned these as well: the K through 12 business teacher, post-secondary teacher, a business school, a community college, a 4-year institute, online teachers, like we discussed, coordinators of biz ed programs of different technology programs, and training and development areas within business and industry. So again, a wide variety of career paths. If you decide you don't want to teach, we have had some people in the past say, hey, I'm just going to switch back over to the MED only because I really have this training opportunity and I'm going to forego getting my teaching license. So we're really flexible with, kind of switching in between any of these tracks.
I just want to say the lighting there, I'm not that bald.
I'm going to say I am that pretty though.
There you go. So I'm gonna say, looked at that picture. I said, we'll roll with it.
I took all of his hair.
There you go. Thank you, Tom. When you do the timestamp, you don't have to timestamp that.
Yeah. I shouldn't. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You all look great. You all look exactly what I would expect out of business education professional. You look wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr.
We like to have fun. Thank you. Job outlook. We like to have fun.
We like to have fun. We do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. One of the recurring themes I'm sure you've noticed that we talk about is this demand is greater than supply. It's so true. I was talking to an undergrad student of ours this afternoon who is doing his methods course, and then he'll do student teaching. I said, you got to realize you're going to come out with multiple job opportunities. We have a professional organization coming up next Thursday into Friday. It's PVEA. If they hear about job vacancy within their school districts, there'll be current business education teachers there. They'll hunt our students down who are doing the MED with certification track, grad and undergrad. So again, we just have all these business education jobs that we're trying to fulfill. So if you have any interest in teaching one day, even if you're geographically bound, even that's been working out pretty well. With some folks that got to stay in certain areas because of family requirements and things like that. We can, I think, a lot of times, probably 7-8 times out of 10, not guaranteed, but you can probably stay close to home and still teach. Jobs going unfilled, unfortunately, that's true as well. We all have opportunities all around the state. The same student I talked to today, I think he's looking at the Pittsburgh area. So in Allegheny County, they have a lot of job openings as well, especially a lot of career and technical centers. if that's your passion and things like that. So anywhere in Pennsylvania, I think we've even got jobs from Clarion. I think Erie sent us a job one time. I know Southern, like York counties, stuff like that. So wherever you're at in Pennsylvania, definitely available to you. And usually schools have multiple openings a year. I believe, Dr. Force, we had a student last year, it might have been January or February. I think she had a job offer and she had to go through board approval. That in other content areas, that doesn't happen. But business education, January, February, March, and having a job and interviewed and successfully secured the job, that's not typical with our program. Like I said, that better. That's very typical with our program.
And one of the things that like you said, when I graduated 25 years ago, it was really hard to find jobs in your hometown, in your area in it. So, what's nice is that it's not, and all of education, it's much easier to find jobs. So that's kind of definitely a plus, now. And it hurts our heart when they can find nobody to take the biz ed job and they have to, do away with the program. So, we really feel passionate about the skills that we're giving students.
Yep.
So just some of our alumni, and so some things that they're doing and some places that they're at, that they're working at in different roles. So one of my former students at Southern Columbia, he was a graduate of the program, and he also went to the University of Pitt on a football scholarship. So he played football for the Giants in his first year as a rookie, I guess. The Giants won the Super Bowl that year. So he came into our program and he had the opportunity to roll right into administration at a local school district. So he's currently a dean of students and coaching football, in the area. I mentioned Avery Roberts. He was the student who was basically hired before even taking one class. He's at Avongrove High School. His wife also moved to Avongrove, so they wanted to work at the same school district for when they had children, and they did have a baby boy about 6 months ago. And then we have local people. Lewisburg school district, Lewisburg High School are one of our grads from last year. That's where he went. And then here's just a list of 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, Dr. Jeffrey, are there any more at Insight Cyber School?
No, that's all of them. And
Okay.
I think they're getting everything paid for while they're there.
Everything paid for, and they're
Everything
all
paid for.
for interns. None of them had a student teach. They all rolled right into the job. So that is a pretty big deal to get it all paid for and to roll right into the job. So that's just some of our alumni, just a small sampling. But we talked about, Gianna is at a school in Philadelphia. We have graduate assistants. We have, again, people of all ages in our program who are getting hired. So don't be discouraged if you feel, I'm only 21 or 22, or if I'm 50 years old. It's opportunities for everybody. We're not seeing, a set kind of demographic for ours. So if it's something that you're passionate about, we encourage you to pursue that passion.
Mm-hmm. All right, you got to jump the gun there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Dr. Jeffrey is going to talk about the application process, and I don't know if Tom wants to chime in as well, but go ahead.
Pretty straightforward. The good people at the Office of Graduate Studies make this very simple. They're easy to communicate. I know they've answered a ton of my questions, but pretty standard fare. I'd like to point out a few things. Online application, your transcripts, your undergrad transcripts, a current resume, letters of recommendation. I believe we send those out to your recommenders, so you can just ask a former boss, current boss, former professor, whoever it might be, to be a recommender for you as well as a very brief, about 1 page or so, double-spaced narrative, personal narrative, just describing briefly why you want to pursue our program here at Bloomsburg University. I also like to admit it. We can admit, and we usually admit around 3.0 undergraduate. If it's not 3.0, we can definitely have a chat about that. And just a conditional admit is all that would be, but we can definitely still get you in the program. 3.0 and higher, as long as you have all this other stuff ready to go, you're definitely ready. Smooth, very, very smooth process. And last but not least, let's take a look at what you're not doing. No GRE, no GMAT, no nothing. All right, we don't need any standardized test scores, anything like that. So easy peasy and you're in. And Tom, if you wanted to say anything about
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you can.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, and again, the application process is simple, like Dr. Jeffrey had mentioned. There's not a lot of barriers to entry here. And again, I think a lot of what Dr. Jeffrey and Dr. Force are going to need to know about your admissibility is going to be displayed on your transcripts, resume, letters of rec, and that narrative. So yeah, no GREs, no GMATs, nothing like that required. And the process is, again, it's very smooth. And should you have any additional questions, obviously, I'm happy to help with any of the technical issues or any of the application questions. For sure.
And Stacy's just applied, so Stacy, was an easy process for you?
I will say that this has been one of the easier processes for me, but it also allows you to see if you're missing something or if someone has not turned in your letter of recommendation, because that was the case for me. One person turned it in, the other person didn't. And then I had maybe like a transcript that I forgot to upload, and all of it is very much lets you know it's a check for things you have completed, X for things that they're still waiting on. And I also wanted to say, like, I got my acceptance letter within weeks. And it wasn't like a long wait and oh my gosh, did I get in, or me, biting my fingernails. It wasn't a lot of that. It was just like, okay, we got your information. Next thing I know, I got an acceptance letter, and it was very much of a smooth transition.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Stacy.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So just here is our contact information. So there is our email addresses. So please, if you're watching this and you have questions, we are very approachable, and we are both very quick in getting back to people's questions. So there's our email addresses. Reach out to us if you want more information. We'd be glad to speak with you on the phone or via Zoom if you want to discuss anything.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And again, if you have any contact or any additional questions, you can see the contact information there. We work for you throughout the course of this process, and we are happy to do so. We look forward to hearing from everybody in the future, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Thank you. That's our beautiful business building, by the way.
It is, yes, the fall, yes, home of the
Yeah.
Ziegler College of Business.
Yeah.
Always make sure I showcase that. That could be kind of potentially your future home if you were going to reside in the area, but it could be your virtual home as well too, which is also nice. So
thank you all.
everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.